Hi everybody, welcome to Power of Knowing Forums, Knowledge Nexus, tech that moves you, ideas that scale you. And today our topic of discussion is exploits to countermeasures, refine cybersecurity with AI. Your, your go-to podcast on tech, cyberspace, strategy and growth. I am Prem Kumar, yes, and today we'll be exploring how cybersecurity is redefining with AI. A special welcome to all tuned to Power of Knowing Forum's weekly podcast series, episode 292, live on LinkedIn. To have this topic discussed, we have the honor of Tarun Malhotra, founder and CEO of Splunk, Cybersecurity and IT, HIPAA, SOC 2 compliance consultant, a certified auditor, and CISA certified as well. He has been doing some of the talks. Let's welcome our esteemed speaker onto the podcast event and dive into the topic. Hi Tarun, welcome to our podcast.
Yeah, hi, Mr. Prem. Thank you. And how are you?
I am good, Tarun. How are you?
I'm good too. Thank you.
Tarun, a small intro about new venture that you have started, which is your new organization, and details on what is that you are doing in the current new organization that has come up. Over to
So,
you, Tarun.
so in a new organization, the work is same.
Okay.
It's all about the cybersecurity audits, cybersecurity implementation, and safeguarding people, organization, and some extent we are working with government also to do some, cybersecurity awareness and the new thing you can say we are also into SOC now, Security Operations Center. So
Hmm.
because threats are are like the threat landscape is changing every day, and it's complex more than ever, and you never know when the hacker will come and do attack. So for that, SOC is required, Security Operations Center, to monitor traffic 24/7. If the malicious traffic comes, we have to mitigate on the real time. That is something new which we are doing, the SOC, Security Operations Center, and which is basically related to today's topic on
Mhm.
AI. So SOC is all about AI tools and to navigate the threats and to mitigate the risk in real time.
Thank you for that, Tarun. Now, sorry, AI-driven exploits are evolving faster than human teams can patch.
Yeah.
How do you confront the fears of becoming obsolete against machine speed threats, Tarun?
Yeah, that is true. AI driven exploit, and if you see the result, I mean, the statistics in 2024, the surge was increased, and human alone can't patch a machine speed like a machine speed. uh, a real tax today combine basically two factors. One is speed, second is automation. So the speed will be enhanced now with AI. So if I give you example of a ransomware called Rosach. So Rosach have a AI based ransomware attack techniques. So it's do the encryption on the data so fast. Even the traditional endpoints, or like the endpoint protection application is unable to detect, and it's so robust, so fast. So the encryption is very fast paced. AI less attackers craft tailored traps, It can look up file across the network in a minutes, in a seconds also, faster than any human team can respond on it. So because of AI, this attacks on a rise. And at the same time, attackers are using AI to write phishing emails and tailor scam instantly. So the lesson is clear. We can fight machine speed threats with manual play. We can't fight machine speed threats with manual playbook. We need AI on defense too to spot anomalies early, or we have to automate response with some AI tool like Splunk is a tool to be detect the anomaly in the network, or QRadar from IBM or NetWitness are the AI driven applications. If we ingest the logs, the infrastructure logs like firewall EDR, like EDR logs, or the servers logs or the endpoint logs, so it will detect and will let us know where are the anomalies or threat is to mitigate the risk. So we need AI on defense too, as I said, to spot anomalies early, automate response, and make sure our backups and compliance are always ready. So I will tell you another, kind of a case scenario, a ransomware name called Prompt Lock. It was identified in 2025, and researchers just caught a ransomware strain called with the name of Prompt Lock that literally writes its own code on the fly. If it's it's doing attack on the network and it's changing the code, can you imagine?
Hmm.
So the traditional you know endpoint detection application is unable to detect where the attack is getting happen. So think of it like like a burglar who changes mask every few minutes while robbing the house. So alarms don't recognize them sometime. That's why traditionally defense struggle to stop it. Traditionally defense, we can't stop these kind of the new AI based threats. To protect that, we need AI tools, as I told you, like QRadar, NetWitness. Wazoo is of open source, so it will ingest all the logs in the application, and it will show, okay, where is the hacker traffic is coming, and how we can mitigate the risk. So to fight with AI, we need AI in cybersecurity, AI based tools to detect those anomalies, to mitigate the risk in real time.
No, what you're saying is very true in terms of AI is getting everywhere to look at. Your first pointer was that so many alarms are coming, and it is humanly not possible to look at all the alarms that are coming up.
Right.
Now, keeping that into mind, also the HIPAA and SOC stakes are rising. Now, how do boards fear compliance penalties more than breaches with HIPAA and SOC stakes rising, and how leaders address this fear without solving innovation? Tarun?
Yeah, so like cybersecurity or regulatory compliances, if we talk about HIPAA, GDPR, HITRUST, or PDPL, or the Compliance Act coming in India, DPDP Act, that's like the boardroom discussion nowadays. How to mitigate the risk of hefty fines or penalties under regulatory laws or compliances, because these regulatory compliance are made by the government. If you see, HIPAA for the US federal law, it's the US federal law which says in case of any PHI data breach, so minimum $50,000 fine or 7 year of imprisonment can also be possible, in that breach. And if you see, the GDPR is also like very stringent compliance for all the European Union countries. And under DPDP Act, if it's coming into like in next year to be applicable in India, there is up to 250 crore rupees fine in case of any PI information misused. Under DPDP Act. So it's true, for many leaders, the fear of a big fine feels scary than a hacker, I can say. In healthcare, like HIPAA, GDPR in European Union, if you just remember the case of Facebook, Meta,
Hmm.
they have faced significant fines under European GDPR law, and they have paid 1.2 billion pounds fine in 2023 for illegal European US data transfer. So can you see how much, how this compliance is like very important to be maintained for any company who are collecting personal data, PII data.
Hmm.
So many leaders see compliance like a, just a layman example. Many leaders see compliance like a traffic cop waiting to hand out tickets, you know.
Hmm.
But the truth is, if you build safety and compliance in your business from day ones, like security by design, we can say, then I think company don't have to hit the brakes later. Something like, think it like putting a seat belt in a car. It doesn't slow the car down, but it just make the ride safer. Same with
Yeah.
the compliance. If we follow compliance from the scratch, from the initial starting of the project, or the the data which is coming, maybe the geographical transfer between India to US or US to UK. So if we go with a like cyber security or compliance by design, then no need to be worry. Smart company flip it, they build compliance with data protection and data privacy by design into their system from the start, and they will feel safe because they know we are following compliance and we are intact with it. And the best part is the customer, if customer notice that if company is maintaining the compliance, they are certified in whatever the compliance they're into, HIPAA, GDPR, SOC 2, or ISO 27001. When the customer see this, that can also prove that we are protecting their data, their privacy of the information which we the cognition getting to get the work done. So it's not just about avoiding fines, it becomes a reason people choose, you know like people choose a company more than their competitors. I will give you a real time example of today's. I was sitting one of my, you can say strategic partner. So he was just selling his services to his customer. Now he included his services with cybersecurity and compliance. Now their clients are more curious to know the how they are going to protect, and this is additional service, they're providing, and there's going to be, good for the organization to get project easily, because if they feel safe, they feel secure, they feel okay, if the organization is compliant and giving them proper security and data privacy, so the chances to get the project is more than the company which is not compliant or not certified.
Right, Tarun. That's a very valid point because every organization is looking for a kind of safety that they can do business with, right? So, they either you are following policies with certification, you are keeping their data in. See, I was talking to in one of the session about a month back. This is on our CSA session only, where
Hmm.
we are talking about now, how is cybersecurity more important? So I was telling them cybersecurity is kind of an investment. When you do that investment, you don't know what is that you are getting at the moment, right? So it is more of a protection that you. Then I told them how many people take life insurance,
Yeah.
right? Life insurance we take only to keep us safe. It's not that we will use that, but if you really look at life insurance is taken every year without fail. We renew it very promptly. So I was telling, why don't we think cybersecurity also in the same fashion? Because everything that you need to protect has to be pre-planned and predetermined to do what is to be protected and how it is to be taken care. Right?
uh,
Am I right in saying that, Tarun?
yeah, that is very true, because when as you if you're comparing with the life insurance,
Hmm.
so we are just taking on the probability basis,
Yeah.
it's not sure.
Yeah.
Same is with the network security, or the data security. You never know when the secure like security can be compromised, when can be the hacker or attacker can come to the network and
Hmm.
steal the data or the money. So that is something, we have to do a proactive approach to get us, invest in the right cyber security product, right cyber security application and devices, And the best part is to keep a monitor 24 into 7. Most of the company, as an auditor, it's my experience when I've seen multiple organizations, so they basically just implement the application or the the device, but they don't monitor, because those application devices generating thousands of logs in a minute. And who will assure which is hacker log, hacker traffic, or which is a genuine traffic? If it's a malicious traffic, if we identify on the actual time, real time, it is chances to just to mitigate the risk on that time itself. Else, if you just see the attack which has happened on AIMS or maybe other big cyber attacks, so it was not a one day task. They will take almost 3 to 4 months to
Hmm.
compromise the whole system. It was 96 servers got encrypted as a ransomware attack on AIMS. It was a not one day task, but
Yeah.
slowly gradually hackers come to the network, they will see activity, they may install malware, spyware, or a rat, remote access trojan, from
Hmm.
which they can see all the screens and activity of the person. And from that they do they will take time and they will do attack. So that's why the real time monitoring and right way of configuration of the devices and application is very much important to be checked.
Thanks for that, Tarun. Many CEOs secretly fear cyber disclosure will tank trust overnight. How should CISOs flip this fear into opportunity for transparency, Tarun?
Okay, so yeah, that fear is real, I can say, because expert says that we are 99.9% safe,
Yeah.
but probability is always there to be get hacked or a
Hmm.
cyber attack. How this happen? I think I told this in my earlier podcast with you also. Suppose as an auditor, compliance auditor, if I do audit of any particular organization, and if we say, okay, after a month that organization is now cyber safe, they are compliant. So this is going to be cyber safe for so long? No, it is for that time only, because they have to maintain and sustain the cyber security and compliances going forward. If suppose example, a small example, if their server is not security patch update, if their maybe firewall version is like old, if no new OS update is come for upgrade the device or appliance, if they have not updated, it means that is vulnerable and attack can happen on that, because vulnerability is there. Vulnerability I can address like vulnerability of any device is not patch update is the vulnerability. Threat, it can get attack anytime, that is a threat to the organization. And vulnerability plus threat is equal to risk. Now coming back to your question, the fear for the CISOs are real. Just look at the I just recalling an example of the Uber. So if you just
I
hello.
lost your. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So as I just recalling the one incident, if you
Hmm.
remember, of Uber. It was in US in 19 in two, no, not in, I think in 2016. The Uber was hacked, and attackers stole data on about, I think, 57 million customers and drivers from Uber
Okay.
database. So what their CISOs did, instead of reporting it right away or following the law or a good practice as a compliance, regulatory compliance,
Hmm.
Uber leadership at that time paid to the hacker almost, I think, $1 lakh to
Okay.
keep quiet and delete the data. But hackers don't have their they don't have credibility. They don't
Hmm.
have some ethics, you can say. But it was got exposed. You can see in the Google also about this case.
Yeah.
So when the CISO did this, and after this, when this cover up eventually came up to public in 2017, after 1 year it was come to the public that this was happened. And because of that, Uber faced massive fine over 140, I think $148 million settlement with US government, which
Okay.
paid the fine to them. And executive lost their jobs because they have hide this thing. And the brand trust took a huge hit, because customers and regulators felt cheated on that time. In 2022, if you see the proper report, the Uber former, like I think CISO, was convicted in the court for his role in hiding the breach, and one
Hmm.
of the first criminal case of a kind you can see. So I
Okay.
always say that the truth is truth is silence killer, like silently kill the trust faster than disclosure. If we are hiding something, that can maybe kill the trust of the people and the customer in the brand. So better than, I think CISO should have a crisis trust playbook, clear timelines, honest manage messaging, and proof of action, like showing regulators and customer what was contained if the breach was happened, and how data was protected, and what being done to prevent or repeat that kind of issues. So always it's always good to be communicate with the customer if something happened like this, instead of hiding the incident. And when leaders share openly and back it with facts, and disclosure doesn't destroy credibility, it
What?
strengthens yeah, it generally basically strengthens the relation, because breach is not going to be hide it's going to be open somehow. Like if you see the example of Uber, it happened in 2016, 17 it was reopened and
Hmm.
convicted in in after later in 2022. So breaches don't kill trust, but silence does kill the trust of the brand and the people.
No, again, it comes to everything is miscommunication, right? When we speak, we don't tell the facts and say this is what we are facing, we are rectifying. So
Hmm.
that way it does not kill your trust, but as you rightly said, breaches don't kill trust, silence does. So that's a very important point. Now, CISOs complain AI tools create alert fatigue instead of clarity. How can
Hmm.
AI actually reduce, not add to cybersecurity pains?
So yeah, because when we talk about the AI applications or the products, so it's always like the terminology called false positive. It's false but showing like a positive.
Hmm.
So false positive statement can be sometime misguide the team. So it's sometime a alert fatigue, which happens when security teams get buried under thousands of notifications, and most of them may be sometimes false positive. And I always say that traditional sim tool flags anything unusual but without context. So 90% of those alerts turn out to be noise, just a noise. So that's why analysts spend more time closing ticket than stopping the real text. So that's why AI driven, I'm
True.
saying traditional sim and the AI driven sim, the difference between that.
Okay.
So traditional sims are just creating the alerts and creating a noise. But when the AI come into the picture, when these sims integrate with the AI driven, technology or the algorithms, so by baselining normal behavior across user device and network, it can filter false positive and elevate true positive incidents to the CISOs or the security monitor experts or people in the SOC working in SOC. So that alerts so the alerts that actually signals maybe malicious activity, but it will more, I can say, concise result as compared to traditional sim. And this AI driven is more robust. So instead of chasing 500 meaningless alarm, team can focus on the at least 10 or 5 real threats because of AI. Because what one is the one task is doing by the sim tool, and second is by the AI driven algorithm to fetch out the exact best true positive alerts, so that SOC team can work on it and get mitigate the risk of the cyber attack. So that's how AI reduce pain by making SIM system intelligence. Triage engines are there which provide the better result, not just the log collector but providing the accurate result with AI. So if we see a layman example, uh, if there is a devices like traditional way, if I talk about a 10-year back, if there is a firewall servers or have many laptops or desktops, so and maybe a Wi-Fi devices, so every device is generating a logs, and logs for in and out, what's come in from the outside world of the internet and what goes out. So now AI driven algorithm, this app based application based, now they will assure and keep an eye on these logs faster than a human, and give us the better result to identify the topmost risk, critical risk, high risk, to focus on a real time basis to mitigate the risk. So the I always say that there may be a too many alerts in SOC center, but AI can fix with AI only. If AI attacks is coming to the organization, then if we have AI inside, so both can work together and to help us to avoid the
Fix.
risk.
Now, what is happening, I think, with so many compliances coming in, startups feel SOC 2 is a blocker.
Mhm.
How do you transform compliance pain into growth enabler for young companies?
Okay. So if we just talk about any compliance, so let's talk about SOC 2. So SOC 2 is a US based recognized compliance. It's not a regulatory compliance, I can say. GDPR, HIPAA, and like DPDP Act, PDPL, Personal Data Protection Law, these all are regulatory by the government. But this SOC 2 is by the AICPA, American Institute of Chartered Financial and Accountant. So they have made one framework, and the framework will establish the five trust service criteria, which you can say five pillars in the organization. So it will check and test with the evidence, and to be as auditor we identify all those things. So the five principles are in SOC 2 is security, availability, integrity, confidentiality of the information, and the privacy. So when as an auditor, when I do a SOC 2 audit for the organization, so we always help them to be establish these five pillar. So there is two thing in SOC 2. One is type 1 and type 2. If it's a
Okay.
startup based company want to establish a compliance and security within their organization and want to demonstrate they are actually having the best cybersecurity and compliant company to get more projects. So we help them to establish type 1 first. So type 1 says that you have to be establish maybe 100 control, or maybe 150 control, or more than 200 control, according to whatever the principle implement on that organization, and then we have collect the evidence if they are following maintaining those principles accordingly. So I always say, and type 2 is something which says that this organization is old and they are managing maintaining these trust criteria from last 5 to 6 months. So they have to show us the old to just represent us that they are maintaining those compliances not only on that start of audit, but they are managing since so long to make the data and like information safe and secure. So coming to your question for the like startup companies, so SOC 2 type 1 type 2 can feel tough for the young startups
Hmm.
companies to manage, but what if they miss by passing the SOC 2, it means
Okay.
they are not somewhere sustaining maintaining the data privacy or data protection compliance. So I always say that these security principle five pillars are exactly what enterprise customer want to see before they hand over their data and project to the startups. If they clear any compliance, suppose the company is in HIPAA, if they're managing PHI, so they for HIPAA certified. If they go to pitch the medical, billing company in US or any, for the back office work, so their probability to get the project as compared to the company which is not HIPAA certified. you know so that's why these are tough, but if the company able to establish these compliance, they will demonstrate more robust and best culture. They are following data compliance, data security, cyber security within their organization. So if startups build these controls into their system early in the starting of the company, automated access management, encrypt data storage, continuous monitoring the data, privacy issues or data breach issues, compliance become the part of the DNA for the organization, and not just a checkbox exercise when the auditor will come to check the particular thing.
Yeah,
So
you're right. You're right in saying that, because nowadays, at least, the auditors come and check thoroughly on what is happening, because they are also liable for the audits, right? So
yes,
that is where it
definitely.
is happening today. And
Yep.
now, coming to the next point, healthcare teams are drowning with HIPAA complexity. What is the first pain point AI can remove from medical providers today?
Okay. So in the healthcare sector, if we talk about US, so they have HIPAA.
Hmm.
I think last time, if I may, I don't know if I told you that India and government is also coming with a compliance act under the healthcare that is called Disha.
Okay.
That is a digital information security for healthcare, something like that is a full form.
Okay.
Disha is under process, so maybe
Hmm.
soon India is also get their own compliance in healthcare. So now, if we talk about like HIPAA compliance, so what HIPAA is? HIPAA is all about PHI, protected health information, or you can say patient health information. So any document, any email, PDF, or any paper which is having any person of American who has their health information written, like the name, the date of birth, their SSN number, or their medical history, that is come under, that's called PHI. If it's PHI, that data need to be like safe, secure under the HIPAA compliant. So now, as a as an auditor, I can say the biggest pain point I can see in healthcare is not just keeping up with the HIPAA, it's the manual monitoring of PHI. If suppose if 100 system, 500 system, or 1,000 systems, I mean 1,000 people company or 500 to 1,000 people company, so it means the PHI is scattered on that much of systems. So the HIPAA is applicable on all those systems which is carrying that data. So now the pain point is to just keep an eye, okay, where all which all users are processing the PHI, and if the PHI is stored in their local system or their like emails or their cloud storage, if the PHI is there, are they are managing the retention policy of the PHI defined by the client or the company. Retention policy is something, data retention policy says that if the PHI is processed by the employee and if the job get done, so employer need to shred or delete that data from their device, from their network immediately. If that PHI is residing on network or any system, if it, the breach happened, that it's a questionable to the organization and to the employee and to the top management. If the job get done, then why the data was residing on the network? So retention policy may be 1 month or 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, or sometimes not even a single day. Some client says that you have to process the PHI data today and you have to clear data before leaving the office from system. Now pain point is if PHI is scattered, if in the 100 system, 500 or 1,000 system, who will assure where are the PHI residing? And a single PHI breach can be a HIPAA law impact, or HIPAA compliance breach. So that's why sometimes staff or IT team spend hours or reviewing access log, checking how and who touched the records and who has accessed it. preparing evidences for that. Internal audits need to be performed about the PHI data processed or saved, and that time can consume for checking all these things. So now, here AI can come into the picture. So if it's a AI can take this burden off from the ID team shoulder. With AI driven log analysis, anomaly detection, and automated PHI tracking tools are available, which can flag unauthorized access in a real time and even generate compliance ready audit trail automatically reports. So that means fewer manual checks, reduce audit stress sometime, and a faster HIPAA readiness. While if you're using some good tool, I can name one or two tool. One tool name is Veronis, which use AI for user identity behavior analytic within the system to detect abnormal access of PHI, insider threat, and suspicious file activity. Another tool I can recall, that is security.ai, SECURITI, not Y, TI dot AI. So that automates data discovery and classification. It also provide DLP, data leak prevention, especially for sensitive data like PHI or PI, personal identify information, data across the network and the system. So now AI come into the picture. There are there may be many other tools available, in the market. So we have to see the right product, right application to be deployed in the network. If we are fall under any stringent compliance like GDPR, HIPAA, or PDPL, or coming in coming months, maybe for DPDP Act in India, to just apply those tools to have a look how many systems are processing those PHI data, and if it's safe, or if it's got breach, or unauthorized access, and so on.
I think what I heard from the DPDP Act side is that you'll have to give a consent on why it is collected, how long it will be kept. Once the activity is done or the required data collection completes its requirement, how many
Yes.
days will you keep it, and when will it be archived and when it will be deleted is what I think DPDP mandates to tell the person who's delivering that data to you, right? So I think that is
Yeah,
one good step that is going to be going forward, Tarun.
it is
Now,
going to be. Sorry to interrupt you. It is going to be three pillars in
mhm,
DPDP Act.
okay,
So one is going to be data fiduciaries, who is
hmm,
going to process the data,
okay,
then data consent manager, and the
mhm,
data principal.
okay.
So data
Consent,
principal, yeah.
consent is going to be the main thing, is what I understand, right?
Consent managers are the string between the data fiduciaries and the data owner,
Yeah.
the principal, data principal. Suppose if somebody collects my Aadhaar card, PAN card, or my phone number, so they are the data fiduciaries. And before get that data, they have to sign. They ask me to consent.
Hmm.
I just remember nowadays my son's school, whenever they ask any information to be processed on behalf of my son for their school portal, there's a
Hmm.
consent form is coming nowadays. So
True.
they DPDP. So something is action we can see nowadays. People are getting consent, but
I
from
also recall somewhere my daughter also was saying that they
yeah.
are asking a consent, can you sign this and give? I recall that. Yeah. Right. Tarun, now coming
Yeah.
to the fine part, ransomware payouts have touched or hit $1 billion, is what I understand. Now,
Hmm.
why do companies keep filing or falling for the same playbooks? And how can AI break this cycle, Tarun? Because we hear ransomware being paid every now and then. Even recently, also someone I heard somewhere. Rolls-Royce data was hacked, is what I understand. I'm not sure whether it is accurate or not, but I saw some of the post coming in on MSN, I think. So I'm not sure,
Hmm.
but Rolls-Royce data was uh, there was
It
some
may be
issue.
possibility. It may be possibility. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, actually the problem is, The ransomware is like, it's a very old trend to be do attack on the
Hmm.
organization, to just send one malware or some kind of a program to just encrypt the data of the organization. And once they encrypt, and then they ask money to get that, decrypt, and giving the key for the encryption. So, and I will touch base some cybercrime part here. Why the why and the best part is not the best part, I can say. And the problem is this hacker scammer always ask money in the cryptocurrency, in a Bitcoin or maybe some other currency. They
True.
never ask in
Bitcoins.
dollar, no, never ask in dollars or rupees or in pound. Why? Because that is untrackable currency.
Okay.
Most of the cyber crime or cyber criminals, what they are doing when they do scam, they will take away this money out of India or out of the the geographical boundary, and they convert the money into the crypto. And
Okay.
that's why most of the time police government is unable to track where the money gone, because
Hmm.
money trail or money that is going to be destroy when the that is converting to the crypto, because that is unregulated currency. Now
Hmm.
coming back to your question, like so ransomware is very old trend, of to do a scam. And hackers break in and lock the files, as I told, and ask for the money in crypto. But too many organizations still rely on legacy defense system. So they have signature based antiviruses, and where you can see the antivirus terminology is changed from AV to antivirus to EDR, extended detection and response, XDR. Sorry,
Yeah.
endpoint detection and response, and XDR is extended detection and response. So
Right.
it has involved now AI, and machine learning in that to identify the risk. The example is CrowdStrike, Sentinel on One, 10 Microsoft. These are companies which are now providing EDR, XDR. So now they are not saying we are providing antivirus to you. And most of the organization rely on this based AVI, signature based AV, antiviruses, perimeter firewall, and backup that's are not regularly tested. And to be, they realize that too late when this happened, the attack is happened, that we are using the legacy based system of the antivirus. Our firewall is not up to mark. The configuration is, maybe the ports are open, maybe the non-business
Mhm.
sites are also accessible, and backups are not tested. That is a
Yeah.
big problem. If you
Backup
remember
of
in
system does not being tested at all is what I also understand in most of the cases.
yeah, most of the cases, sometimes backup is huge. They don't
Hmm.
bother to do a test, if backup is accurate or not. And if you just I just recall the incident which has happened in 2024. The Change Healthcare attack happened in US, the biggest ransomware attack in the US healthcare industry, and it's impacted almost, I think, 2 to 3 months, and the work was impacted. Most of the companies are unable to process the insurance data. Doctors, hospitals are failing to get the claims, the money from the insurance company when patient was visited to them. It was impacted not only in US, even in India also. The companies who are working in US healthcare for medical billing, their claims, their status, they are unable to work on it, because the problem was the hacker was encrypted the data. And the Change Healthcare has also paid the money to hackers to get the data back.
Okay.
They got the data back, but it was taken almost again 1.5 months or 2 months to just to make sure the data is accurate. There's no this the integrity is maintained and nothing got tampered by the hackers in that. So so AI can help us here. I think AI can help us like break this cycle. It can spot strange activities when ransomware attack happen. As I told you, the name of this ransomware name Rosach. So it do so the encryption of data so fast in minutes and seconds. So like sometimes the traditional legacy antivirus or the firewall unable to understand what is happening. So that's why AI can help us to break this cycle, I think, and it can spot strange activities sometime if it's enabled, with the AI detection or ML based, tools or applications. Like when files start locking up by the ransomware attack all at once, and it stop it right away if the AI is there. Maybe if detects the, the conversion. And sometimes AI if can also help us to check, backup daily, or so we know they will actually work in the emergency. But it's a manual task too. Manually we have to check if the company is taking backup in case of ransomware attack happen. How will restore our operation? But basically, as an auditor, I can say when I do audit, so that's when we check, company. That's a part of the BCP and DR plan, business continuity plan and disaster recovery plan. So how company is ready in case of any disaster happen, in case of attack, in case of failure of device, in case of failure of like infrastructure or the natural disaster and so on. That's a part of that. So in that case also backup is very much important to be tested. Not only in case of ransomware, I can say. So if it detects faster and prepare better, ransomware loses its power also. If AI tool can detect the anomaly fast and prepare the like remediation, so we can protect it. But it's always, I can say, not rely on AI. It's always a manual testing too. ai
I
is
think
a AI
it's
should
a
be a human driven.
I think what you're saying is a combination that has to be there. Should be a human in loop, is what you're talking about. Now,
Yes.
coming to the other point that I want to understand is human uh, is considered as the weak chain in any organization, right? So,
Right.
there's still a threat that we see in almost all the organizations. Insider threats are harder to detect than outsider hackers. Now, how does AI change the game in spotting internal risks early? Any suggestions there? Any pointers there?
In this I can say, I can do the change your statement. I can say the employees can be a first line of defense too. If we educate the employees about the cyber risk or the criticality of data they are working on within an organization, we can prepare them as a human firewall. I always say this word this in my like workshops also. So IT team has prepared the technical firewall. It may be Palo Alto, Suppose, or any, but employee can be trained as a human firewall, so they can identify the risk. You know, if there is spam email, spoof email, if there is an anomaly happen or misbehavior of the system. So if user can report it to the IT team on time, it may be a chance they can protect the network from risk. Coming back to your question, the insider threats, yeah, that is tough because they don't trick they don't you come up with a usual alarm because we have AI to detect the anomalies. How you check the insider attacker, because there's nothing to be get the alarm system. But
Yeah,
employee already have valid logins and know where the data is live. They know everything. That is a
yeah.
big risk. So the classic example I can say, there's another incident I just recall, the Tesla insider.
Hmm.
I think 2018,
Okay,
one employee working in the Tesla, and he altered the code and stole in data in a gigabit, in
okay,
GBs of data, and that is a trade secret data. And he got that code before being caught. This is, you
okay.
can see in the Google also. It's a case study. So I always say this, like traditional defense missed it become the access look legitimate sometime because employee having the all credentials access level to the devices. So this is where AI may be a game changer for the organization, and AI can build baseline of normal behavior, like when staff usually log in, when log out, what file they touch, and how much
Hmm.
data they have moved, and so on. And they can also sometimes flag unusual spikes also if somebody is accessing some particular files or data. in so much, in high frequency in a day or in a month, then the AI can also let know, like, in a graph phase, why the user is touching this data so much, frequently, for their work. Is it actually required, or if it's something, is trying to do fishy? So that way we can also check through some AI based tools. And if someone suddenly download thousands of record at midnight or tries to access systems they never use, AI can also spot it instantly because it is monitoring the user behavior. They are tool available, and that how we can turn blind spot into early warnings. So this is, I think, we can like something we can work with an organization. And some tools, if you want to be point out, that maybe Veronis, again, it's like user behavior analytic tool which can provide guidance to the organizations to have a look if something is doing fishy by the employee. Proof point insider threat management is something also which detect risk and employee activity with behavior analytics. Basically, here the AI is just like detecting the behavior of the employee, of the user, what they are trying to do. If it seems abnormal, these tools will raise a red flag. Microsoft Purview, I have heard about that, also provide us the insider risk management capability, and that uses AI ML based technology to flag data leakage or unusual access of the information and risk insider behavior for the organization. So these things, I think, companies can use to just have a look on their employees, what they are doing with the data.
Coming to our last question for the day, Tarun.
Hmm.
Boards demand proof ROI from security. How can AI help CISOs translate cyber spend into strategic value, Tarun?
So this is, I think you already mentioned about that. The example is we can take from this insurance. When we take a insurance for our life, life insurance. So it's all about the probability. Same with the cyber security also. It is not like company going to be attacked, or maybe it's not they are going to be breached, but we have to be stay protected in the digital world. That is the need of the era nowadays. If any vulnerability exists, any weak points, there may be a chance company may lose data or some like money, like financial impact. And the big thing is reputational impact.
Imagine.
So money can maybe, I think, earn back, but reputation cannot be earned in case it goes impact to the brand or the organization name. Because brand value will making a name will take so much time,
Yeah, yeah,
but spoiling will take maybe a day. So that's something we have to protect by getting the right right application, right devices, right framework, cybersecurity framework to
yeah.
be implemented. So cybersecurity is a culture to be established in organizations to protect and the data and information. So if you, coming to your question, like accurately, if a company invest on SOC 2, HIPAA, GDPR to be get certified, so it's not like like very cheap, or like very like it come with a hefty cost, because sometime compliance auditor will take charges, hefty charges, and then they will ask you to implement multiple applications or device in the organizations to protect them from any data breach. That also going to be investment. But I think here AI changes the game by moving like from one time preparation to continuous compliance monitoring. So I'm coming to the compliance monitoring. So if suppose organization achieve the compliance, now how to maintain and sustain it? So for that, AI can come also the picture, and companies can have implement some tool to monitor and get prepared for the continuous monitoring of the compliance and their security posture, so that once the auditor come into the picture and they ask multiple things, so they will be ready on the time for that. So I mean, as I says that, like as you given the example of insurance, so it's not sure, but we should prepare, safeguard our organization data infrastructure for any kind of cyber risk, cyber attack. Cyber crime is on rise nowadays, and these things will help us to be stay up to date and to be safeguard our reputation, our compliance, and our network from any kind of issues.
What you are saying is we should be looking at one is the insurance part, the other is to have a common drills, maybe an internal audits that we have to do some of the
Yeah,
simulation tests that you want to look at, do some
yeah.
of the backups, what we are talking about the whole session, backup and restore tests, do a simulation of moving into a DR site where you move and start working from a different location in terms of or now with this cyber security, now we are with cloud, we can still move on to have two regions having two different servers and start looking at having a DR kind of a simulation done and see whether systems are able to take that load or that kind of change that we can take if one region goes down. That's what I think on the cloud side we could look at as what you are saying. Tarun, with this we have come to the end of the session that we wanted to have today. Any pointers that you want to add while we close the session, Tarun?
Yeah, I mean, as we are talking about the AI in cybersecurity, so AI is, is like is evolving. So the security demand is also, to be protect data and information. So I always say that AI should be like human driven only. It
Okay.
is not AI drive the human, but human drive the AI. That is the
Right.
best thing. If we totally depend on AI tools and application, and we just sit idle, okay, now AI will take care of everything. No, it's not going to be. It will alarm you, it give you the alerts, but ultimately the human need to be keep an eye, keep a check to safeguard themselves and implement right and best practice in their infrastructure to protect from cyber attack and implement cyber security.
Thank you, Tarun. Thank you for that. To the audience, we please do follow us on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. We've streamed this podcast live to these platforms. We hope you found this discussion valuable, and thank you for joining us. Our next podcast is tomorrow, and we are talking on the topic of are introvert leaders the unstoppable or untapped powerhouse of growth. We're talking about how introvert leaders can make a difference tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. Looking forward to see you. Good day and bye. Bye, Tarun. Thank you for
Thank
joining
you.
us.
Thank you, Mr. Prem. Thank you for having me. It's honor to be in your podcast channel always. Thank you.
Thank you.